Well, you could tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a caveman. No time to talk. Well, there is time to talk, and we're going to talk about it on Saturday Night Zen. I'm Tommy, and I want to start doing this by the light of the silvery lamp every couple weeks, maybe every week on the weekend, Saturday Night Zen, Sunday morning Zen. To kind of recap the week, or kind of a more long form in-house conversation as opposed to the walks. And I kept thinking of the song I Just Wasn't Made for These Times by the Beach Boys. And I've always thought that's me. Now some people feel that way. They go, oh, I wish I was born in the 50s. That's me, or the 70s. Or something. No, I'm talking me. I'm caveman style. Caveman style. Now you're thinking, oh, we're not one of these weirdos. Yeah, don't you know how terrible it was then? Disease, stress, you're getting attacked by monsters. Basically, they're monsters back then. All the time, you can't even sleep without fear of being attacked by one of those woolly mammoths or saber-toothed tigers. Your life expectancy, you live to 12. Whatever. I don't want to hear it. I'd still rather live back then, and I've always wanted to, because the purest of simplicity in the human lifespan. Real simple living, not this TikTok trend simple living of now. No, that was real simple living with a lot of stressful living. Probably the most highest in stressful living, highest in simple living. But that's the duality of life, man. That's the duality of life. I mean, it's this YouTube video I watch, Day in the Life of a Caveman. There's 5 or 6 of them. I'm addicted to these. So I'll listen to these things while I go to bed, and it's the deepest sleep I've ever had. Well, not deepest, because the dreams are just so memorable and fun. So I know I'm sleeping deep. I don't need one of those little cute watches to tell me my sleep was next level. But I listen to these at night, and it's so soothing listening to this routine. And he doesn't, these people aren't sugarcoating it a lot of times. They'll talk about how tough it was, and we get that. But you didn't know. That's all you knew. You didn't know it could be easier. So now, people who say it now, oh, you could live back then, you couldn't do it. Oh, I couldn't do that. You couldn't do it because you know about now. And you're using all the creature comforts of now to say, I couldn't do that. But if that's all you knew, yeah, that's what you would do. Yeah, you would have to go to the bathroom in the stream, but that's all you knew. That's all you knew. So I watch these videos, I listen to them mostly because I lay down at night, listen to them. And it is so soothing. And I want to break down all these things of the reasons why I like the old times. And there's a fewer more recent examples of times that I like, that I would prefer over now. Even with all its creature comforts, as I said, I wouldn't mind of just wiping my memory of this and going back to that. And anybody that says, oh, yeah, you think you'd want that, it's tough. Yeah, I know it's tough, but I wouldn't know that. Again, we're speaking, anybody that says that to me in the comments is using a high-tech futuristic phone, probably in Botswana, to tell me that. So that doesn't mean anything to me, you saying that, because look at how the technology being used. It won't mean anything. So I do love that, and it's always been comforting to me. I just think of how I prefer a life like that, where there wasn't much at all going on except the survival instincts and community. Surviving, leisure time was probably so enjoyable just because of the offset from the stress of that to now the night and the safety of the fire inside the caves, to kind of bring things really into a clear picture. Um, it was probably so enjoyable, those chats. I'm going to talk about the nighttime chat stuff in a little bit, but the simplicity is what I'm after with that. Like the purest of simplicity. Like it's just conversation, maybe making music on like banging on stuff, making music and making your own, making some art on a wall, talking. That's it. No TV, no internet, no cars, no blah 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 blah. I even like medieval times. A video game. Real quickly back to caveman times. There's a video game, Far Cry Primal, set back then that I always loved, and I loved it just more because of game was difficult. It was first person, so you can't see your character. That always gave me nausea, but I just like being in the world. It's like, oh, I can live this way. It's tough. You got to go out. You got to scavenge for food. See, I wouldn't be one of the food scavengers. I'd be the spirit. I'd probably be the spiritual kind of person. You know, the one with the face paint, the tribal guy, and he's banging on the drum and telling people like, look up in the stars. All those people be like, wait, listen to him. He's got something profound to say about something. The way the moon is set with the stars and this. I wouldn't even know what I was talking about. I'd be saying that and they'd be following me. But I'd probably be one of those guys. But I loved that video game. It was like taking me into that. But, I'd probably have to be doing some ayahuasca then if I was one of those guys. That's what they did. They'd see these visions. They'd be going, look it in the sky. There's this, this flying, saber-toothed tiger. They'd be like, the other ones hadn't taken the stuff I've been taking in the cave, and they're like, what's this guy talking about? But yeah. So I like that time. And then I even like the medieval time. There was another game. I think this camera's tilted, and I don't really care. I think it's a stand. Kingdom Come Deliverance, Skyrim, they're set in those old medieval era times, and I love that too. A little newer, so a few more people, a little more technology, but still fun, because we're in that pre-era of electricity and, and then cars and all those things. And so, yeah, just horses, riding around on horses now. We've tamed horses. We're now riding them as our way to get around. And, like even the way you got around in medieval times. Not on foot, no accidents. Like you're not people, you have to wait at lights with the horses. None of that, just free galloping. See, like even the transportation stress-free. People aren't beeping, yelling, road rage or rock path rage. So I like that time too. Even with all the disease, dysentery, violence, hatred for for certain people. I don't care about those things because that's around now. All these things are around now, but in times 100, I can't do it. And then I also like Fallout for the post-apocalyptic worlds that they created. Not the post-apocalyptic part, not that part, but the simplicity of the time. Okay, so there's hardly a lot of people. They're in little encampments, little communities. Now another thing that I prefer from the cavemen, smaller things and just little communities of people together. So you'd be walking all night in this, dangerous roads, by the way, in this game Fallout, because it's post-apocalyptic, but heading off and finding a little encampment with like created things with metal up the sides that they fashioned out of like loose steel they found. And you go in there and it's makeshift little beds and a makeshift bar. That's the part that really gets me. I'd be in there and it would turn nighttime. And I'd always wish the game was longer at night. The nighttime went longer. Because I'd go sit at the bar. There'd be people there in this Fallout. They'd be talking. I love that. So 2 things now you're noticing from the cavemen and medieval times. And now 3 Three time periods. I love the conversation part. I don't think I talked about it with the medieval part, but I like the conversation. That's not done as much anymore. It's done via the internet, not the same thing. Most of that conversation is fueled by hate and anger, so it's more arguments than anything. But I love the calm of those environments. Not the bad that goes with it, but again, you wouldn't know any better if you were in medieval times. That's all you would know. It was a tough life. People always write about those times and are like, oh, it was such a tough life. Of course it was tough. Of course it was tough. Wild West time, I love that too. I'm going to get into all this, but I just love the peace, the simplicity. Let's start quickly. I don't want to make this an hour video. We're already at 10 minutes, 11 minutes. But bear with me and just enjoy. Lay down. If you're listening to this at night, just lay down and listen to me go on. So cavemen times. You have all the aforementioned dangers of that world, and if you got sick or something, it most likely meant death. It was 100% chance of death if you got anything, while people are figuring out, what some piece of some leaf is going to do for your dysentery. So you have that life, which is grueling and tough and maybe short-lived. We don't know. I think they live longer than people are saying. But no cars, no internet. I can't even think of all the things that I don't like about now that wouldn't be there. There's just so many things that I would prefer. My favorite part being less of everything, less people, less things to get attached to, and more of the good things, more of raw, real living, more of community, more conversation, more living in the moment. The video that I listened to, A Day in the Life of the Caveman, my favorite part was when it got to night, and it got me so warm thinking about the conversations that they were having. They'd be like, they'd sit around the fire and conversations would go sometimes late into the night. And that's something that resonates with me, because going back to when I was young, when I was hardly Zen, way back then, I'd listen to radio overnight. WFAN Sports Talk Radio. Dr. Joy Brown was something that was on. I don't care. She was taking calls about life things. I don't care. So I wanted someone talking. Art Bell, Coast to Coast with Art Bell. And these became imprinted in me, imprinted in who I am. Even to this day, I like to lay down and go to sleep with podcasts playing or talking playing, not music, not no sound. People will say, you can go to sleep. It's so quiet and peaceful when you sleep. Yeah, it is, but it's not as entertaining. I like it. One of my things is when I'm at people's houses and I sleep over, God, sleep over. I'm sounding like I'm a 12 sleeping over. I'm 79 years old. I'm about sleepovers. When I'd stay at a friend's house, I'd always go to bed and people would still be up, and I'd hear it in the other room, people talking, and I'm not even kidding, as cheesy as it sounds, I would be praying, please, I hope they just keep talking into the night and I fall asleep before they stop, because there's something so comforting about that, knowing that keeps going without me. The conversation keeps going. It's a lullaby. It's a sleep meditation, and I like that. If the lights went out and the voices stopped, I don't like that. Even when I'm laying down at night and I get close, and if I'm still up and I'm listening to an hour and a half long podcast and I realize I feel like I've been up a while, is this ending? I look, 12 minutes left. I pick a new one and lay down and try to get back to sleep again, because I don't want the end part. Weird, huh? That's me. I need it to keep going. I don't want it to end either. I don't like the ending of those things. And I know, being someone that falls asleep early, I could go to bed at 10. that there's a good chance that those sounds will go on in the night if I'm at someone's house. But I really love it. I remember a friend years ago when I was young stayed over, and I said, I'm going to lay down. I was getting tired. And he said, can I continue to play this game, Pat Riley basketball on the Genesis? I said, yes, please play it all night. Beat it. I said that like, he's like, yeah, just play it all night. You don't mind? I said, no, please play it all night. Because I liked that something was going on. Very soothing, very comforting. Cavemen times, if you're hanging out, you're with all your community. You're not, separating yourself. You don't live alone. Maybe there were like loner ones, like single white caveman. Maybe I'll write a script or a TV show, Single White Caveman. Is there ones like loners or ones that lived alone, like the Bachelor caveman? We'll have to think about that. There had to be, right? I did do a short once about were there bad neighborhoods in caveman times. You have to look that up. It's a thought that just pops into my head and I just talked about it. But you had to have these conversations because you're around each other. So people be around the fire. Some people would check out. And in this YouTube video I watched, The Day in the Life of the Caveman, this guy was going into descriptions of that. It was so soothing. I felt the stress drop listening to him describe this. As some people rolled off to sleep, others kept the conversation going. It would get softer. There would be less, but there would be soft chuckles, but the fire would grow dimmer. But knowing that there was that activity and that conversation excites me every time I hear the descriptors of it and just thinking about it. So I have that going at night for me, and to recreate that, I wouldn't have to have that if I was in caveman times. 1 point for the Paleolithic era. 1 point for that. I'd be able to have that community. Same things, like, and just like going later into times like medieval times and pubs becoming a thing. People now carrying the conversations on there, or in the aforementioned Fallout games, the post-apocalyptic, the enclaves making their own little makeshift little communities there, and then they make a bar so people can converse all night. And I always like those the best. In Skyrim, a video game set in those times, in the medieval era, one of my favorite things to do is go into the pub. They have whatever they're called, tavern, right? Pub, tavern, and people would come in and out. They'd have the characters come in and out and just sit there and talk. I'd like that. Just listen to what the conversations they would say. It's calming. So that going for it, the community thing. One of my favorite parts of life is community. Talking late into the night is one of the great joys. I watch movies and I'll see a scene like that and I'll be like, oh my God, this is so great. They're just talking into the night. Low light, a drink. I'd be that caveman sitting there with the white wine, just chilling. Yep, there'd be wine then. I would have made wine. I would dip water in the stream. That's my white wine. It's such a pleasant thing to think of that I had to share it. Like, what I don't understand though is like how everybody could not yearn for a simpler life. And why not the ultimate in simplicity? Caveman times. But you have to be a different sort of person. Everyone has their different vibes. I even let's go as early as the Wild West. Red Dead Redemption 2, one of my favorite things in that game, set in the dying of the Old West, was the group had this, they stayed at an area called Horseshoe Overlook, up on the top, overlooking out the land, and they had their big community there, and there was a fire, and if you sat around at night, characters would come in and sit and tell stories. I have a YouTube video on here someone put up, all 86 Red Dead Redemption 2 fire camp stories or whatever. I play that one at night. I love it. I love it. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. I know people that are like, oh, I was born in the wrong era. I should be in the 50s, sock hopping. That's great. That makes them feel good. Nah, I don't like it. I don't want, and I can see the comments coming. Oh, you don't know. It's terrible in those times, the disease and the outdoor bathrooms and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but you didn't know. What would you know? You only know what you know, and you're not thinking you're missing out on something. Like I said, when I was 25, I didn't think I needed a thing in my hand that I could look up anything ever needed to be known in the history of mankind and watch every video at the touch of a finger that's ever been aired. We didn't think we needed that. Hell, we had phones with wires. We didn't think we needed one with a wire. If you wanted to talk to someone privately, we had the long cords. You'd take it like 89 feet into like the second floor bathroom. You didn't go, man, I wish I had wireless. I never said that. We never said, I wish we had a microwave to make things faster. When I wanted to heat something up before we got a microwave, we'd put all of it on the stove. It's so weird to think about it too. But we would put it back on the stove and reheat it. And it wasn't an inconvenience, man. I'm telling you it wasn't an inconvenience. And I'm not looking at this with rose-colored glasses from nostalgia. I put it on there and that's all I knew. And that's how I heated it up. I didn't need it cold. I'm not a heathen. I'm not a monster. I heated it up. I heated it up. But all those late night conversation things and the simplicity of that are things I love. All those radio shows would be soothing to me to just listen to that all night. And that's one of the pulls of those older times, because there would be that community. The cavemen around the fire at night. The medieval times at the pub. The Red Dead Redemption around a fire again. It's fire comes up for the greatest invention of all time. Everyone says TikTok, now I say fire. And then people always say, this is the greatest invention since sliced bread. What is sliced bread? What is this invention? You just rip the bread, you need to slice it. So it's such a great invention. You just rip it, you rip another piece, you make a sandwich. Anyway, people say that. I don't like that one. But TikTok's not the greatest invention of mankind. It's the fire. It's still fire. It's always going to be fire. Nothing's going to beat it. The wheel. That was another. Wheel's good. The wheel's good. I'll give you the wheel. But, God, if this is anything indicative of what these Saturday Night Zens are going to be, you people are going to hate this channel. You're probably like, what is this guy's problem? I guess I just wasn't made for these times. I want you guys to comment and let me know which times you feel more comfortable in. Or if you're comfortable in this time, tell me why. Now, when you do that, don't look back with what you know now and say, yeah, I couldn't do without this. Well, you have to think beginner's mind. If you didn't know about it, you want to know about it, wouldn't hurt you. What you don't know won't hurt you. People in medieval times aren't complaining that they didn't have internet or electricity. No. Some inventor comes along and they come up with that stuff, the geniuses that they are. Got some nice music playing in the background. We have a channel I like, Sileo, S-I-L-E-O. This is Baroque Jazz for Cognitive Clarity. It's a good background. I should have had just like drum beats for the cavemen. But yeah, I guess it all comes down to the purity and simplicity of living, which is what I like about going back as far as we can as humans to the caveman time, because that's what gets me. I want that now. I'd want it then. I wouldn't have to really seek it out then. You know, the ignorance then. They didn't know anything. You know, this is what it is, and this is great. So nice. So nice. Just think about it. Let's just sit for a moment and think about something we love that would be something so simple that would calm us down. If we can get to that in this realm that we're in now, let's figure out what that is. Let's listen to this music for a little bit. Let's think about it together for a little bit. Not real long, not like 10 minutes, like a couple seconds here. Just think, where do we find ultra peace, ultra calm, and ultra simplicity? You do that while I think of the thing I want to talk about that I forgot. That's why I'm doing this, so I could think about what I was going to say.